Well, hey there. Welcome to Two Things, Breaking Rad, the channel, and Tinfoil Skies, the
Mhm.
awesome Fortean show that the wonderful Soto Brothers have created. I'm guest hosting on Breaking Rad today, but this is Tinfoil Skies, and it's exciting. We are having trouble streaming to your destination. Hmm.
That's not good.
Nope.
Uh, oh, it's Rumble. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
We do Rumble and well, we normally do Rumble, X, and YouTube, but I guess you have to now subscribe to X to stream there. So we had to take that off. I'm not sure why Rumble's.
Oh, really?
Anyway, none of that has to do with this show. So so this is actually kind of two things. So when you asked me to host, I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then I got an idea for our channel for Breaking Rad to do, if I actually do this, call it the Fortean States of America.
That's cool. I like that.
And each week I want to do a different state and just kind of go over the urban legends and cryptids and things in each state. And Alaska is the first one. And so we're starting off with Alaska today. And later I'll chop this down and make it like a pre-produced video.
Nice.
And then throw it back up as part one of the Fortean States of America. I probably will never do another episode, but just that is my idea to do. So anyway, we're talking about Alaska today, and specifically, we're talking broadly about Alaska, but specifically about the area called the Alaska Triangle.
Nice.
And so I'm gonna get the boring. I think it's exciting stuff, but the boring statistical stuff out of the way in the beginning. But first, let's say hi. So I'm Cal from Breaking Rad, and we've got Ben Soto on the bottom there. Ben, how you doing?
That's me. I'm Ben.
And we got Justin next to me.
Hey, how's it going?
Top tier buddy.
Yeah, and it's Hat Day
Welcome.
here at the
It
podcast
is.
too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're all hatting it up, and I actually have my Fortean.
Oh, Mothman. I love that.
Mothman hat on today.
That's a cool hat.
Yeah, mine's
This company-
Captain America.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's from the
Winter Soldier.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
The last two Avengers movies.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Endgame.
Endgame and Infinity War. Yeah.
That's
And
when he
what's on
shows
your
up.
hat, Justin? I can't see.
Oh, yeah. It's a pizza place in Hot Springs.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Grateful. Nice.
We all have our heroes.
Yep. So this place, the place who sells these, if I can remember the name, I'll tell you. They also do flannels, like flannel shirts with like big patches on the back.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't buy them because they're too expensive, but they also have, I think they have a Bigfoot, a Jersey Devil. I think they have like a skunk ape. They're doing like a whole line of cryptid ones, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Nice.
You'll see a whole lot of Jersey Devil stuff.
Yeah.
But we
should get some, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should.
That way we can be cool like Cal. We can each wear one.
Yeah, we all have our Fortean hats.
Get my thinking hat
Anyway, but we are Point Pleasant is where Mothman's from.
Mhm.
We're moving all the way northwest to the great and frigid state of Alaska. So I'm going to drop some stats real quick before we get into the fun stuff. So people go missing. I don't know if you guys saw this. I know we talked a little bit earlier about but people go missing at twice the rate of the rest of the country in Alaska. Whereas the percentage of those people being found is relatively high elsewhere. In Alaska, they tend to stay missing. So that's the big difference is they go missing at about twice the rate in Alaska, but in other states, most of those people are found. In Alaska, most of them are not found. And the rate of people that vanished, never to be seen again in Alaska, is about 170 people per 100,000. So 170 per 100,000. That's a staggering 19 times the average of about 9 in other states.
Wow.
So over that, we talked about this number. Over the past 5 decades, over 20,000 people have just kind of evaporated into thin air in Alaska. which is kind of scary. Makes me not want to visit there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting comparison I found. So the population of Alaska is 730,000 ish, right? The population of Arizona, the state in which I live, is 7 million. So we have about 10
Wow.
times the people here, right, in Arizona.
Right.
Now, the number of open missing persons cases per year is approximately 1,300 in Alaska and 1,100 in Arizona. So we have almost the exact number of missing persons cases, but 10 times the population here.
Man.
So 10 times the amount of people go missing and stay missing in Alaska as in Arizona. And then I just wanted to go big. So I looked up California because they have the highest missing person rate in the nation. Highest number of missing people in the nation. They're the biggest state.
Mm.
So the California has a population of 40 million, and then they have 3,400 open missing person cases. So in California, so looking at the populations, Alaska's population is about 0.018% of that of California, but has almost a third as many open missing persons cases. So if you apply the same rate at which people go missing in Alaska to California, you'd have 68,000 open cases in California. Right now, like I said, it's only 3,400. So that's kind of a big difference.
Yeah.
And that number 68,000 is almost 10% of the population of Alaska. Imagine if 10% of a population just went missing.
Yeah.
Okay, so stats are almost over. I do want to note though, just in case somebody watches and goes, "Hey, he's wrong about that." Over 100,000 people are reported missing in California annually. That's a lot, but most of those are found very quickly.
Mm.
Most of those are runaways or whatever, and they're found very, very quickly, which is why the number is only 3,400, not 100,000.
Gotcha.
So that's why we use the open cases statistic instead of just the missing statistic or going missing statistic.
Right.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, the majority of the missing persons cases in Alaska occur in what is known as the Alaska Triangle. It's the area roughly between Anchorage, Juneau, and the town formerly known as Barrow, which is now known as
Ukiagvik.
went back to the native language for that name. I like Barrow
Gotcha.
because it's easy to say. It also sounds kind of scary. Isn't Barrow where 30 Days of Night is set?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so maybe that's why the name sounds spooky because that awesome comic and pretty good movie are set in Barrow, otherwise
Ukiagvik.
Right.
okay. So, so I do want to touch real quick, and then we'll move. We're almost there. The environmental people are going to say environmental factors, right? Like harsh weather and
Yeah.
animal predators and things.
I'm sharing the map if you want to show it, just to have a visual.
Oh yeah. Let me add that on there. Oops, I just opened Xbox instead. Okay.
Later, after this.
Okay, cool. So that, I mean, yeah, I'm sure some people are killed by bears and some people freeze to death. I mean, obviously those are things, but excuse me. Alaska has way more percentage of untamed and harsh wilderness than Arizona or California. Both states have their share, but Alaska obviously is like a very large percentage untamed wilderness. But there's just way too many, in my opinion, there's way too many hints that there's some kind of high strangeness going on or multiple kinds to ignore this. Plus, it's not fun to just chalk it up to the environment, right? It's more fun to speculate. And then I'm
Aliens did it.
also, yeah, aliens. Well, that's one.
I'm calling it now.
Yeah, that's one speculation. And I don't know if you guys did this at all because they're both triangles, but there's the Bermuda Triangle, which is the more famous triangle.
Right.
But I was really curious what's the rate of missing people in the Bermuda Triangle versus Alaska, the Alaska Triangle, and so in the past 200 years in Alaska, in the Bermuda Triangle, only about 1,000 people have gone missing. 50 ships, which equates to about 900 people, and then 20 airplanes, which equates to about 140 people. So Alaska's number of missing people is 100 times as many in a quarter of the time. So Bermuda
How many
Triangle,
people passed through the Bermuda Triangle though? And then look at that percentage.
that's actually, you know what, that's one I should have done, but that would have been way more math than I'm comfortable with.
Also, I know
Yeah.
you gave numbers for Alaska, but like how many?
Yeah.
What's the percentage that went missing within the triangle space?
Actually, that's not a stat that I could find.
Okay.
I think generally it's most. When I say most, that's kind of a guesstimate, because that triangle encompasses a vast majority of like the open, like the untamed wilderness
Right.
in Alaska, and that's the wilderness is where like 99% of people go missing in Alaska. So probably not 100% inside the triangle, but a very large percentage inside that triangle. Yeah, I couldn't find that stat. It may be out there, but I couldn't find it. So that's it. Those are all the stats. I wanted to get into some of the speculation, but I've been talking a lot. So does anybody else want to lead with anything?
No, I'm good.
No.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay, cool. And so is there? So we're looking at Alaska. I'm just curious where is Barrow is up towards the top, right? But where is Anchorage and Juneau?
Anchorage is right down here.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Juneau,
And
I
then
thought
Juneau
was below
is-
that as well. I thought.
It's like
I'm really bad
southwest.
at geography, though. So.
Me too. I'm so bad that I just call it geology because I don't know the difference.
They're both rocks. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do a search here.
Yeah.
Find Juneau.
Yeah, I'm curious how much.
Oh wow.
Like.
Okay.
There it is. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's actually really close to Anchorage then, huh?
It's kind of a ways
Where was
away,
Anchorage?
actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was Anchorage?
So here's Juneau, and
Okay.
Anchorage is over here.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was to the left of Anchorage. Okay. And so.
And the third spot is way at the top, right? It's actually
Right.
pretty
What's
far
the-
away from both of those. To the left, I think.
What was the third spot?
It was Barrow or
Arrow.
whatever that lady said.
Ukiagvik.
Yeah.
I bet that's what it is on the map. Ukiagvik.
It's probably this one right here.
Yep, that's it. Okay,
Ooh.
so I was wrong. So that the triangle does not cover the vast majority of open wilderness, but it does cover a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
It like splits it in half right there.
Yeah, pretty much. So from
Yeah.
here to there, and then back down here.
so there's that whole left part is still kind of there, which I'm sure is mostly wilderness.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's all wilderness. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I would have said before researching for this, I would have said I'd love to visit Alaska, but no,
But now you're not so sure.
probably not.
Maybe-
I mean,
Maybe parts of it.
Yeah, very highly civilized parts of Alaska. Not any of the places I'll be talking about today, that's for sure.
All right, what's our first location? Where are we going to first?
Okay, so we're just kind of generally in Alaska.
Okay.
For this first one. Actually, so where am I? Oh yeah, so here we are. So one of the oldest, I figured it'd be good to start with a really old urban legend or myth or whatever you want to call it. One of the oldest explanations of missing people is the Kushtaka. Did you guys see that and when you were looking this up?
Yeah. The otter people.
Yep.
Shape-shifting otter people.
Yeah, the legendary cryptid of Alaska is it's often described as a malevolent trickster and shapeshifter known for using deception to disarm and lure its victims, which are most oftentimes sailors.
Yeah.
Now, Well, I did find that it's usually kind of talked about as a predator, like a supernatural predator. There were sometimes like stories of it being good, kind
Hmm.
of, where they would rescue people from the harsh cold by like distracting them in some way, sometimes using illusions of family members that are kind of otter-like.
Hmm.
And while they're
Interesting.
distracted, they like turn them into kushtaka themselves so that they can handle the extreme cold.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, I don't know if it's like a vampire thing where they bite them, or if they just like have a magic wand or something. I don't know how they do it, but they turn people into kushtaka. Um, and those legends obviously predate white settlers in Alaska. The people this legend comes from are the Tlingit people. They're indigenous to the coastal Pacific Northwest, and they're the first ones that I could find that shared stories of the Kushtaka. And so I did find a story. This one is old. This is from the early 1900s, but it is presented as a true story. And in this story, this is the much abbreviated version. um, there's a Tlingit couple who they lost their son. They believe that he drowned, but he went in the water and they never found him, right? Um, and the next year, like about a year later, they're out on their yearly fishing season where they go. They would build a house out of. They said the legend or the story said bark, so I'm
Hmm.
assuming parts of tree. But
Yeah.
they'd build like a little hut, um, and then he would go out, in his kayak and fish, and then come back. But he was having a really, really rough season. He would catch about two halibut, 1 to 2 per week, which obviously is not enough to, if you're bringing it back home to feed you for the rest of the year, or whether you're selling it or whatever. I don't know how they were allocating the fish, but he was not catching very many. Um, but one night after a bad fishing day, they went to sleep, and then the next morning they heard somebody or something outside moving around, putting something on the ground. And when they went out to check, there were two. They call them devilfish, which is in Tlingit lore. A devilfish was a cryptid that was like a giant demon octopus. But in this story, I'm assuming they just mean they found two octopus laying on the ground because the husband used it for bait.
Hmm.
Now, I guess one of the problems he was having was that he couldn't even catch bait. So, like, when you go out fishing and you catch your bait first. Like for us, we'll just go to the bait and tackle shop. But um, in the 1900s, early 1900s, um, and probably I don't know if they still do it that way, but they would catch their bait first and then bait the hook with the bait and then catch the bigger fish. And so octopus tentacles make good bait.
Hmm.
You chop them up into little pieces, and so he was having a tough time getting bait, and all of a sudden he's got all the bait he's going to need for a while, right?
Right.
Um, and so he brings him in, shows his wife, and he's like, I don't know where these came from. And the wife had a speculation. She said, well, I think it was our son who we thought drowned, but I think it's him. The story is unclear whether she thought it was his ghost or the real him or a kushtaka. Um, but she believed in whatever form that it was their son that was trying to help them.
Hmm.
And so they put it. She had like a test, like if we hear a whistling, that's our son. And so they find another devilfish, um, and they hear whistling outside. And then the father goes out and he says, "Son, come in. We want to see you." And then, like, without walking in the door, he's just in the house. But he's not speaking English. He's just whistling, which is really kind of eerie.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but anyway, long story short, he kind of helps the dad fish for the rest of the season. And then he eventually is able to speak like a human, but he's got otter-like features.
Huh.
He's very strong, like uh, he lift things that his father can't lift. And then at one point, he tells his dad, they're out in the kayak, and he tells his dad to cover himself with a blanket because he doesn't want him to watch how he's fishing. But the father watches through a little hole in the blanket, and his son dives into the water and swims down, and he hooks a big halibut onto the hook, and then swims back up, and then tells his dad to reel it in, and so he's basically just kind of cheating for him.
Right.
So anyway, they end up getting tons of not only fish, not only halibut, but also seal, but everything they're going to need for the rest of the year. And when they're on their way kayaking back to their hometown, the son just disappears out of the boat, and that's the end of the story. They never see him again, but they were um, helped by the Kushtaka version of their son, which I don't know. I thought that was kind of a good, heartwarming ish story.
Yeah.
It's not the supernatural predator version of a Kushtaka,
Right.
which actually I asked AI to create some Kushtaka images for me. Oh yeah, here we go. I'll share these real quick because these are kind of fun. Where is share? Oh, there it is. Okay, present share screen. That was a kind of interesting version. Now, while they're part,
creepy.
I know, right? So they're part otter. They're like shapeshifters, but the legends kind of have them being very large, sometimes like up to 8 feet tall.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I mean, which is weird because when you mix a man, like a 6-foot-ish or around 6-foot man, and a very small otter, you don't think you would get an 8-foot monster.
Right.
But that's in the legends, and then AI had one more, which I love. This one. This one is not quite as otter-like. It's kind of more rat-like to me, but
Yeah.
I like how it has the corpse in the bottom. He's just laying there. He's very still and serene.
Yeah.
And I actually have, I'm not going to read it here, but when I do the edited version of this, I'm going to start with a cold open story, like a little horror story about Kushtaka.
Nice.
And I'll let you guys know when that's up so you can check it out. But I'm not good at cold reading fiction. So
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my first story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Changelings, fairy lore, where something will, swap out a like that kid, for instance, comes back with features of something else.
Right.
Almost like did it change him, or is it something else that's kind of impersonating that thing? So that's
Right.
kind of what that made me think of. That's popped out to me.
I think it's interesting that so many, when you really dig into cryptid urban legends and things, so much of the time they kind of either go back to fairy folk lore, or they resemble it like it's a new version. Like, for instance, Ben mentioned UFOs and aliens earlier. The alien abduction, the community that kind of follows that whole thing, there's a lot of belief that the aliens are creating hybrids. They're taking women, impregnating them, and then harvesting the fetus, harvesting the baby. And the belief is kind of going back to X-Files, but the belief is that those are, at least for some people, that those are the hybrids that they're using to infiltrate human society, kind of like
Right.
sleeper cell. It's funny how I don't know what came first. Like, it's a chicken and egg thing, because you go back far enough, you've got X-Files. X-Files, I know Chris Carter was drawing from, the
Kolchak.
zeitgeist. A Kolchak, yeah. But
Yeah.
as far as the alien stuff goes, like, I know he wasn't creating the lore, he was appropriating it.
Right.
But then if you go back like to the show V, which is from like the early 80s, I think. The original one. There was a newer one with Deadpool's girlfriend, but
Right.
the older one with like Mark Singer, like way back in the day. Robert
Krueger.
Englund, who played Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger. Yeah. That show again, it's like they're lizard folk, but they're coming down like with human guises. But if you go back into fairy folk, like Justin said, like that's all there. It's all related. And then, but if you go back even further, speaking from as a Christian, as a fringe Christian, the um, the Genesis 6 paradigm and the Nephilim, they were doing the same thing back then. They were creating hybrids, and so yeah, there's just like, to me, there's like a through line through
Yeah.
all this stuff, which some people might think that's less fun, to think that most of the unexplained things are actually explained by the same phenomena. But I don't know. I think it's kind of a fun explanation. I love when things tie together.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now. I'm blanking on his name, but there's the guy who really studies really deep into the Nephilim stuff, and
Yeah.
he's talking about how people call aliens like the lizard people, but really what it is serpent people.
Mm.
And so
Oh,
he
yeah.
ties that to Genesis.
Oh, yeah. That's good. It's not LA, right?
No,
LA
not Ali
Marzulli?
Marzulli. Yeah, I'm blanking on his name right now. Any other day I would have like
Fraser?
no,
No.
Heiser?
Okay.
Really?
not Michael Heiser. Yeah, I love Heiser though.
God rest his soul.
Yeah,
He's with Jesus now, and now he knows. Now he knows the truth. Whatever. I think he's probably been proved right more often than not since he's been in
yeah.
heaven.
I don't disagree with anything he said.
No, I think he's on point.
Yeah,
That whole council,
the Divine Council.
divine council paradigm, man,
Yeah,
that that rocked my world when I heard that. How about you
mine
guys?
too. But it
I
all
was
makes
like,
sense.
it makes so
Yeah.
much sense.
Especially when you read about Paul talking about how our enemy's not against flesh and blood, our battle's not against flesh and blood, but against principalities in
Yeah,
heavenly places. Like it's like, oh wow, that's what he was talking about.
right. Yeah. One sec. Sorry. My daughter was asking for a treat. Yes, you can have a treat. You ate your whole pizza. Good job. Oh no, you didn't. You ate half of it. That's still pretty good. So yeah. So we got Kushtaka. I did want to point out it seems like a lot of the. I mean, I don't know the percentage, but there's a lot of people in Alaska that believe it, that like fully believe in Kushtaka. It's like when you go to, what's that? What's the European country that believes in fairies? Is it Sweden or Switzerland? I don't know. I get those all mixed up. But there is a place where like the government like officially recognizes certain places as inhabited by fairies, and they'll like
Hmm.
they'll adjust their roads and stuff based on where the fairy folk are.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they do like I know what you're talking. I've heard it. I don't remember the name of the place, but like they'll do like actual ceremonies and stuff before they open a
Mhm.
road or something like that.
Yeah.
Just in case, kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're getting the blessing of, or
Blessing, yeah.
appeasing.
Yeah, they'll
We
do
think. I
an
mean, we
offering
feel
or
it.
something.
Yeah, I mean, in America, I think we kind of look at that as like kind of just cute, but like it's like a main part of their their society. And in Alaska, there's a lot of people who have heard the Kushtaka stories, and have in their at least opinion, have um, encountered or know someone who's encountered something similar to Kushtaka, which I don't know. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Otter people. Um,
The way they described it being 8 feet tall, I also wondered if it could have been like a Yeti of some kind,
oh yeah,
A water yeti.
Right, but they just
yeah,
kind of like, because of their, the region that they're in, they just impose those features, like otter features, onto it.
right. Well, they do
Really,
have on my list. I do have an Alaskan version of Sasquatch.
okay.
But I mean, honestly, like again, I kind of think this is all a angel DNA experimentation, gene splicing stuff. Anyway, like I think all this stuff is a higher race, which would be an angelic, the fallen angels or the fallen watchers,
Right.
still just kind of messing with the gene pool, like
Yeah.
just,
Gary
I
Wayne.
think
Gary
Gary
Wayne's the name
Wayne,
of the
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking of.
yeah, he's good.
Mm.
I don't know about you guys, but like I kind of buy into the Enoch and Jubilees thing where the Watchers were actually not just creating human angel hybrids, but they were creating chimeras like
Hmm.
like hybrids between animals, and that's why the flood killed everything. Like
Right.
God didn't send a judgment that only killed the Nephilim, and the human race was completely. Genesis says it was completely corrupt, other than Noah and his family. Every person was corrupt in their genetics. The word is like genea in the Hebrew. It's when it says Noah was perfect in his generations, it actually means that he had an undefiled genealogy. So his gene pool was pure,
Right.
and and so anyway, so God didn't send a judgment that just took out the human like things, but also all the animals other than the sea, the ones that were in the ark, and then the ocean animals. Um, so anyway, yeah, I think all this stuff goes back to Genesis 6, guys. But
I'm with you there.
Mark sent me an ad for Nephilim beard products. And I don't know if I'd go as far as to buy Nephilim beard products, because as fascinated as I am by
Uh-oh.
the topic, I don't know if I would like. I don't know if I would like wear or use products that like glorify
Right. Yeah.
Nephilim are cool. Like, no, they're not. They're really evil.
They're the bad guys.
Yeah, and I know I say that wearing a Mothman hat, but whatever. Fine, I'll take it. Okay, you guys want to hear another story? Does anybody else have one they want to
Yes.
toss in?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
let's get another story.
Oh, you're saying me? Okay. Okay, cool. So I found this one's kind of cool, kind of staying on the Nephilim.
Hey, you do have a comment, Cal.
What's that?
You have a comment.
You have a comment?
There's a comment in the comments section.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I don't see that.
There you go.
Ireland, Cornwall, Scotland, Welsh area. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. I was going to say Ireland, but
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, welcome, Bounty Hunting Bear, to the chat. You seem to be all alone in there, but thank you for hanging out with us.
not all alone. You're with us.
No, I've heard, that I've heard also, but there is like a Norwegian-y, like Swedish-y, I don't know which, it might be just Greenland, I don't know, but there's a place where it's like really prominently. Go away, dogs! Oh my gosh, go do something else. I have one dog who literally never stops searching for food. There's never food on the ground. There's never food on the ground. Go away. Okay, sorry. So we'll keep on going here. So I found an account where a guy goes missing while he's out panning for gold. This was covered on Missing in Alaska on the History Channel. He's a prospector. He's out panning for gold. He goes missing, and then sometime later, a hiker finds the prospector's belongings. He sees a scary native in a mask across the river. Allegedly very tall, very menacing. And the description he gave matches a long extinct tribe of headhunters. The Dene people call them Nahani.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, and that actually is a Dene word that means like from the Naha Valley or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll circle back around to the Nahani Valley. This story was really interesting because I had already had been researching a case of a guy named Gary Sotherden, who was an Alaska native who went missing in the 70s. He was hiking along the I think it was just the Alaska River, or I forget which river it was. Brother, and his brother never found him, but found some of his belongings. And this is also in the Alaska Triangle. Now, though his belongings were found, they never found him. But then decades later, a skull was found along that river. And then I think a couple more decades later, using DNA, the DNA knowledge that they have now, I think genealogy, genetic, I forget what it's called, but some kind of forensic blah 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 that they use.
Right.
They discern that this skull actually belonged to Sotherden, Gary Sotherden, and that's all that story. That's all I could find on that story. I couldn't find any people speculating on it being a cryptid or an anomalous phenomenon or anything. So I actually left that story and was not going to even use it. But then I found this story from Missing in Alaska of the prospector who went missing along a river, whose belongings were found, but he wasn't. And though they never found his skull or anything, the hiker who found his belongings, like I said, saw the native across the river. And the Nahanni, by the way, were headhunters who were very territorial, and they were I guess big like 3,000 years ago in the area, like in the Canada, basically more in Canada than Alaska. But they kind of just disappeared. I think a few hundred years ago. They just kind of disappeared without a trace. So I'm putting these two pieces together. This skull that's found after a guy goes missing, and then another guy goes missing, and there's no head, but there is a native who looks like a headhunter a headhunting tribe from a few hundred years ago. And then I realized that there's actually a place in Canada called the Nahanni Valley, which is kind of where the Nahanni were. They weren't really known to be in Alaska. It's an untouched stretch of wilderness in Canada where these Nahanni people were from. And the Dene described them as being giants. And if you follow, I know you guys do, if you follow the whole Nephilim thing at all, the giants in America thing, the natives in America they all have the First Nations people, whatever they're called now, they have stories about these giants that were cannibals, all over America. And so to me, this story kind of just fits right in line with all of those stories.
Right.
So again, the Nephilim kind of paradigm keeps coming through. And I mean, we don't want to stop there, but if this tribe decided to kind of just spread out, maybe migrate up into Alaska and just kind of remain hidden, they could account for a lot of the disappearances in Alaska, but it's not fun to settle on one explanation. So
Yeah.
we'll keep going. So there is, let's see, how long have we been going?
38 minutes so far.
Okay. So there's another, by the way, almost every single kind of strange occurrence that I could find, I don't know about you guys, in Alaska is something that existed before settlers arrived, before white settlers arrived. So most of them have names that are hard to pronounce. From the Tlingit or the what are the other, the Ney, the Ney is the language, and the Haida, and there's another Inuit, the Inuit. So a lot of these legends go back to some of these Native American tribes. So this one is called the going to show you a artist rendering of a quadrupalic. I need to have these ready. This is kind of a
Wow.
yeah.
That's
They
creepy.
yeah, it is. It is creepy. Lee, want to see it? Oh, you have? Where'd you hear about him? Oh, my
Like how the
daughter
kids
was
are like
research.
happy back there.
Yeah.
Snowball fight.
My daughter apparently heard me talking about this stuff and decided to research Alaska myths on her own and
Oh.
found the quadrupalic.
Hey.
Come over here, say hi to the guys.
Hello.
That's
Hey, how's it
Justin
going?
and Ben. They say, "Hey, how's it going?"
I'm doing good. How about you?
Pretty good.
They're doing
pretty
good. Okay, so
all right.
the quadrupalic is I think of it as the siren's ugly northern cousin.
Yeah.
Sirens are known to be beautiful, but this one is
good.
not.
The ugly sister. Yeah.
And they're known to abduct children who wander too close to the shore.
Mm.
And a lot of the old folk tales like this are, people kind of chalk it up to parents trying to get their kids to not go out late, not go out into the woods, not go into by the river. But I kind of think there's a seed of truth in a lot of these myths. Like I don't think that some Tingit mom, uh, in the 1800s or whatever, came up with this lie, like, oh, there's a kids, don't go near the river. There's it's a qualu pollock. Yeah, that's what it is. And it's like a half lady, half fish that will abduct. Like, I don't think they came up with stuff and then somehow it passed along to the whole tribe, and then everyone starts believing. Like, I don't buy that. I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but I think that there's some kind of seed of truth in a lot of these stories.
Yeah.
So the Qualu Pollock, in my opinion, is one of those because there's so many like mermaid, siren legends like all around the world that I feel like there's something there.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. It has like fish type like skin, but then it has long strands of hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's creepy, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of you guys see the movie Legend with Tom Cruise?
Oh, it's been a while.
There's a hag, like a bog witch that kind of lives under the water in the swamp. Her name is like Meg Mucklebones or something. And this kind of reminds me of that because it's like a hag with like the gross long nose, but then she's got all this stringy wet hair
Mm.
and very similar. Although the Meg Mucklebones' nose is it's pointy, long and pointy. This is more of like almost like a short elephant trunk or something.
Yeah.
It's weird.
This thing is supposed to wear like a sack on its back, right? That it abducts children into.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's,
exactly.
I
Yeah.
guess what that is. Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder if is that. I guess I don't know if the legend says or not, but is that something it's supposed to wear and made, or is that part of its body like a joey sack? Like
Right.
kangaroos.
Let me see it, hon. I don't know if it's going to show up on their screen, but you probably can't see that. No, you can't. She has other pictures of quadrupalic, but
Yeah.
they're oh my gosh, those are creepy. Oh yeah, there's the sack back. She's got some more pictures, but you can't see them. So, well, I don't have time.
But they're really cool.
We're on a stream, you can't stop and look everything up. It takes forever. On when I do my edited version, I'll use those pictures. Okay. Thank you for finding those. Can you bookmark them so I don't lose them? All right. My helpful daughter. Have you guys heard the theory that that mermaids, that the women who slept with the Watchers became mermaids, became sirens?
Oh, I hadn't heard that
Mhm.
one. Interesting.
Yeah, it's if you shout out to Haunted Cosmos. There's there's a show on YouTube called Haunted Cosmos. It's a couple of Christian dudes who do this kind of thing, and they've got a really big following already. They only started like I think they have 2 seasons of their show out, but they do really like well researched and rehearsed version of this where they read stuff back and forth, but they're really good at it. Anyway, they go on this guy named Joel Webbin's channel sometimes, who's a Reformed pastor,
Hmm.
and he like 100% believes the myth, the legend that the women who slept with the fallen watchers were the first sirens, and they're still kind of just reproducing, and they're still around. I don't know. I feel like that's a stretch, but it's fun to speculate.
Yeah,
What's
But
his logic behind that?
yeah, I don't know. So he's on the show that I watched. He cited some old writings, like an old Greek historian or something. Um, on the I didn't think of that until just now, or else I would have researched that and included it. But in the edited produced version of this, I'll add stuff about that, and
Sure.
if I can find it. But it is, yeah, it's far fetched, but it's also really interesting.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds me of the Lilith legend, like that Adam had a wife before Eve, and that she was like the mother of vampires, and that is complete BS. But it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd heard about Lilith being one of the brides of the angels. Like
Hmm.
she was like the sister of Cain.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that would. I'm not against the Lilith legend. I'm just against her being Adam's first wife, because Genesis is really clear that Eve was the first wife.
right. And I think
Oh,
there's some like ancient writing. I'm not sure which one it was. Like it might be one of the apocryphal books. I'm just not sure which one. Where
yeah.
it mentions like Tubal Cain's sister being her name's like Lilith or something like that.
All
And
right.
yeah,
I'll look that up. Tubal. Well, there's Naamah. That's No, that's a daughter of Lamech, sister of Tubal Cain. Yeah, I'm gonna look this. I'm gonna look this up. That's really interesting. The Yeah, that whole I can get rid of quick Kolopalik now. Anyway, I feel like a monopoly. I'm sorry. I'm just like jabbering.
no.
It's good.
This is your show.
Yeah, but I'm just hosting. I have 2 other people here. It is. I will tell you, it is some work to
It is, yeah.
put these together.
Yeah.
If I would have picked a subject that had more photographs and videos to show, it wouldn't be so much work. But I'm like, there's no. I mean, I can show pictures, but I still have to like talk about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Bounty
Nahanni
hunting
Valley.
fair. Hmm?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the Nahanni Valley story is pretty interesting. The Headless Valley is what it's also called.
Oh yeah, the Valley of Headless Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention
Nice.
that. Yeah. Bounty
Yes.
hunting bear. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah. Oh, were you looking it up?
No, I've heard stories about it.
Oh, you heard? Yeah.
Yeah, that podcast that Justin and I listened to, Belief Hole, they did like a whole episode
Oh,
on the
did they?
Nahanni Valley. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like the shows that go into in depth. I know we're just kind of like trying to get a taste of different things here, but
Yeah.
so I have one. I only have one more. There are a lot. I mean, there are lots of cryptids and weird stories in Alaska, but I kind of just picked the most interesting ones.
Yeah.
And the final one is, I think, the weirdest of all. If you thought Kushtaka was weird, and it is weird, the Amikuk is way weirder. It's from the I think you pronounce it Yupik people. It's YUP apostrophe IK. they have legends of a shape-shifting creature that can swim through land
Hmm.
as well as water. And it doesn't leave
Interesting.
any holes. So it's not digging, it's just kind of swimming through the earth, which to me that just sounds like a myth,
Yeah.
like mythology, because it's doing something that's like impossible, right? But then think about UFOs. People very commonly report UFOs descending below the surface of the ground, not just
Yeah.
water, but they'll see a UFO kind of go underground as if it's water.
Yeah.
Um, Now, wait, there's a little more to that I think kind of scientifically makes it make more sense. Um, anyway, this thing is known as a hunter of hunters. Like it generally likes to hunt people that hunt animals.
Hmm.
Um, Now, and like I said, they swim on land and water, so they hunt people, fishermen, whale hunters, seal hunters, and also people who hunt on land. Um, Now this is where it gets really weird. So its skin is leathery and kind of covered in this kind of gross slime, but it also doesn't have any legs.
Hmm.
And instead of legs, it has 4 human-like arms that it crawls around on, which gives me kind
That's
of
interesting.
spider
That's
vibes,
gross.
right? Yeah. I told my son about it, and he said it reminds him of Meat Canyon for some reason. If you guys, I don't know if you guys seen the Meat Canyon cartoons on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Mm-mm.
He's kind of like a grotesque, like comedy horror artist. But his people are. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my. Have you seen my Kamala Harris drawing?
No.
I'm gonna show it to you because this is actually. I don't have any Meat Canyon drawings on me, but I do. This drawing the style was inspired by Meat Canyon. So this is kind of like whenever I've shown this to somebody who knows who Meat Canyon is, they go, "Oh, that reminds me of Meat Canyon." So the inspiration came through, but he draws things that are just kind of like unnatural and weird. And
Yeah.
there's a video he did like a Taylor Swift music video in this kind of the style where her neck kind of gets really long and gross, and then she's like crawling like the girl in is it The Ring or is it The Grudge? Do they both do it?
Both. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of crawling on all fours.
Right.
That's kind of the vibe that this creature makes me think of. The what is it called? Amikuk. But it gets weird. It actually gets weirder, I think. So when they swim through the earth, they make a thumping sound, and the ground they're swimming in becomes like quicksand.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So to me, that obviously I wouldn't go as far as to say it lends credibility to the legend, but it makes more like scientific sense. If nothing can swim through solid matter, but if it somehow alters the chemical makeup or somehow changes the texture of the ground that it's swimming
Right.
through, um, and they can also swim through people, and they don't, just like with the ground, they don't leave any marks, but when they do that, the person dies. Really weird and gross.
Yeah.
Just like the idea of something swimming through you, just like, ugh. Especially when it's got 4 human arms.
Yeah.
Sounds uncomfortable.
It's called Amikuk, Amikuk. Oh my gosh, she's reading about it too. Honey, you can't hold on. I gotta finish this, and you can tell me all about it, okay? So the weirdest thing, though, I think, maybe you guys can correct me. Maybe the arms thing is the weirdest. The weirdest thing is that they can shapeshift into a human for some reason, pulling a sled, but they aren't even. It's a joke, but they're not even as good as Zoolander at turning. Zoolander, I don't know if you saw the movie. He could only turn right. He couldn't hang a
Right.
tree. Well, these things can't turn at all. If they're in human form pulling a sled, they can only go straight ahead.
Interesting.
And so the legends say, um, if you sit right in its path, instead of swimming through you and killing you like it would in other legends, it stops and it just keeps giving you riches until you get up and leave. And so the strategy is to just like, if you see an Amakuk, you just like right away get in its path and just sit there. And then it just keeps giving you riches until it gives you like your heart's desire. And then you can get up and leave a rich man. Interesting.
That is interesting.
I mean, obviously the most outrageous part of the myth, out of all the outrageous things about this myth, that one brings the most untrue. Just kind of like, yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting. In other versions, instead of getting riches from sitting in their way, you can find the nest that they leave, and in their nest, instead of eggs, there are tufts of fur. If you take this nest home and you can use it to repair anything that is broken. So you can put, if you have a shirt that got ripped, you can leave it in the nest and you pull it out the next day and it's not broken. It's not ripped anymore. You've broken tools. Yeah, really, really, if you're a businessman, you can think of ways to make money with that.
If I put my empty wallet in there, I pull it out and it's fixed. It's got
a
whole bunch of money in there.
Overflowing with cash.
Yeah. My bank card in there.
Steal your identity.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds. I mean, I kind of wish, other than the swimming through me and dying thing, I kind of wish I could find me an Amakuk.
Right?
Help me out.
Definitely. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I never heard of that one.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, there's a bunch more that interesting art. Thank you. And then going back in the comments, they say probably a plasma being. Okay, so the Amakuk. And then sounds interesting. Sounds more elemental, protectors of the earth. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a common myth, I think, in some of these older urban legends, or I wouldn't call them urban, but these older legends. There's some kind of, going back to the fairy folk, there's some kind of connection to nature.
Yeah.
And yeah, interesting. But that's all I've got. That is the extent of the research that I did. I really had fun though. I thank you guys so much for asking me to host this. I had fun just looking up all these crazy myths.
Yeah, no problem.
That's really
cool.
You
did a good job. Yeah, you pulled some stuff up I never heard of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I can bring something brand new to the Soto Brothers, I feel like I won the day.
You did. You won the day.
I can now safely play Minecraft with my daughter and not worry about doing any more work.
Yeah, that's right.
Well-earned rest time.
Yes. I already did church this morning. That's a lot of work for what I do. Yeah, fun stuff. So what are you guys cooking up for the next one? I know Justin, you're hosting the next one.
Yeah, Justin's hosting the next one.
So I
do you have anything in mind yet?
The topic. Not yet. No, I'm thinking about it.
You're lucky you get October, man.
Yeah, I know. I get Halloween month.
And your birthday month.
And my birthday month.
Oh, is it really? Nice.
Yeah.
How close are you to Halloween with your birthday?
11 days.
Oh, okay.
I'm the 20th.
Okay.
And then my wife is actually November 1st, so she's the day right after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She's actually closer to Halloween than you are. She's on is it All Souls Day? What's this? All Saints Day, okay.
Yeah.
I know there's like there's 3 days in a row, right, that have like an all something in it.
I think so.
All Souls, All Saints.
All Hallows Eve, and then
All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
Or you can go Dia de los Muertos if you're south of the border. Which, yeah, I think is a fun. I don't know. As a Christian, I don't celebrate it, but I think it's aesthetically pleasing to me.
Yeah.
So this is my trip to Alaska here with my wife.
Oh, you never mentioned. a wife to me.
Yeah. So she's from Alaska.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. So this is after our first year of being married. We took a trip out there to visit her family, and this is the Portage Glacier.
Oh, it's beautiful. My gosh.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think it was June. Okay, yeah, June 27th. It was when we came back to Oklahoma. It was the first 100-degree temperature day. But like up there, we were like in the 50s and the 40s.
Oh man,
It was
that had to be like
beautiful.
leaving heaven and going to hell.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
It hit 117 here yesterday. Oh man, this is
17.
great.
Ugh.
I'm getting a little peek into Ben's life. All I know of Ben is the guy sitting in a room with some nice coloring in the background, and who shares a lot of my interests. This is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, this is a Hatcher Pass. Went out there for a walk.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love how the stones kind of make the path through the stream. That's cool.
Yeah. Yep.
How
That's
long
me
ago?
trying not to fall over. This is 2012.
Okay. Oh wow, that's a while ago.
Yeah.
You guys been married for a minute.
Yeah. Just
How
a
many
good
years?
minute. It'll be 15 years this October.
Oh wow. You got a couple years on me and my wife. And Justin, you're recently married, right?
Yeah, 4 months and a couple of
Yeah,
days.
4 months. The Soto brothers have both been married off.
Yep. We're taking, ladies. Sorry.
You're welcome, ladies. You don't have to wait for us anymore.
Our wives jumped on those grenades.
They did it for all womankind.
That's right.
That's
Do you have kids, Ben?
No, I don't. kids.
No? Are you going to or no?
No, I don't. I really don't think so. I'd
No?
like to, but no, it's not. It's not in the cards for us.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah,
You got pets?
I did. I had a turtle. Had a turtle for
Oh.
almost 14 years, and then he died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, turtles live a long time though, don't they?
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, not this one
Unless
though.
they're owned by Ben.
Unfortunately.
Turtles and ladies
Yep.
don't go to Ben's house. He's married and he kills turtles.
That's right.
I just heard that Sylvester Stallone still has the turtles from Rocky
That's crazy.
for 40 years.
Wow.
That's crazy. Sorry, I cut you off. We're gonna. Yeah. Yes.
No, I was gonna say that was my trip to Alaska. It's beautiful out there. Aside from the paranormal triangle that swallows you whole, it's a really nice place.
I'm really glad you
didn't go
guys.
there.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys came back. Did you were you more than two when you went there, and then you lost some people, or is it just you two?
It was just us two. Yeah.
You're like, it was a double date couples retreat. The other two are, I don't know.
Like,
They're Kushtika now.
yeah.
They're still
with
in the
the-
path of the Amakuk.
They're swimming with the otter people.
I found a really maybe I'll put this on the edited version. No, I won't because it's not my material. But there's a really weird, like almost like psychedelic animated telling of the siren one. I forget her name. Quadrupalic.
Palu, yeah.
It was animated using, it looked like all cloth.
Huh.
And really strange. Like it was, and it was made by a Native American artist using just all materials like that you wouldn't think would be in an animation. Like
Yeah.
the water was just like a blanket that they kept moving, stop motion kind of. And yeah, it's interesting. I'll send you guys a link for it because it's definitely weird enough that it's worth a watch. Strange, but we are right at an hour. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I did not think I could fill up an hour with
No, you did good.
4 stories, but
Good job.
awesome.
Justin, do you have any stories?
Yeah.
Anything?
Well, actually, just one thing to add. So,
Yeah.
wanted to share this real quick, but you mentioned in the last story, and I don't remember the name of the cryptid that you brought up that has the 4 arms that swims in the ground.
I'm a cook. Yeah.
I'm a cook. Okay. So let me present this video right
Yeah.
now. And it reminded me of something when you said you could hear thumping under the ground. And I thought it was, like you said, it was a very interesting detail that myth would have, is that it changes the ground that it goes through, almost like quicksand.
Yeah.
There's a video that I had seen. Share screen. I'm still kind of new to this, so give me a second.
No worries.
All right. And then with sound. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
All right. You guys tell me if you can hear this. You guys hear that?
What do they do? What is that?
Okay, so that's sand, and every time you're taking a step, it's squeaking a little bit like a seal or something like that.
Oh.
So the reason it does that is that it's sort of like air that's trapped underneath the sand that's coming up, and that kind of it's not a thumping sound, obviously, but it is a sound that comes from loose earth whenever there's air from the water trapped underneath that's rising up. As far as I know, this really only happens on beaches or sand areas. But I thought that was something interesting to add to that.
It sounds like barking.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it sounds like a little dog's barking.
Yeah,
you know that actually makes. I mean, that makes sense. Like there could be some kind of scientific reason for the thumping sound, that when as the ground is becoming softer, almost more liquid, air is releasing, like little air kind of
air pockets,
bubbles popping out. Yeah, man, that's really interesting. What if that thing is real? I know that's the fun of speculating.
Could be,
all this stuff is real, but
yeah.
Got a comment. Let's see. Like the spice worms in the movie Dune. Yeah,
something like that. The thumping.
Yeah, I never watched Dune, but I know what the sandworms are. Those things are terrifying looking. They're so big. Or trimmers, but in trimmers they dig holes, right?
But they leave
the
cave-ins,
sandworms,
I think, wherever they're going.
As I understand, Dune, the planet is like all sand, right? So, no, because if they walk on it, they're not falling into it. So there must be some solid earth underneath. I don't know how those sandworms get around. Go away! There's no food over here. Any other anecdotes, stories? I don't want to cut you guys off if you have anything else to share.
That's really all I looked up right now.
Okay, well, it's time to